Hello, this is Haiming. The article I'm reviewing is called Towards a Transformative Pedagogy for School Libraries 2.0 by Marlene Asselin from University of British Columbia and Ray Doiron from University of Prince Edward Island, published in School Libraries Worldwide in July 2008. This topic is very relevant to me as a school librarian in training. This article helped me to sort things out and provided me with a big picture of the current and future school library program needs. Although this article was written a few years ago, the topic discussed is still applicable to current time. The main purpose of the article is to inform school librarians and other stakeholders the need to transform the pedagogy for school library program in the 21st century. According to the abstract, the article is about the impact of Web 2.0, tools and skills on the teaching and learning, how school library programs can transform their pedagogy based on what the new literacies are, who today's learners are, and what is the emerging concepts of knowledge. In the first section, the authors talk about the three key concepts: the new learners, new literacies, and the new concepts of knowledge. The second section is the methodology they used. And then they, of course, talked about the findings in detail. There are simple tables and figures to support the ideas. The conclusions and the educational significance reviews everything discussed above, looks at current situations in school, and the encouraging research of teaching and learning in the new times. Before we get into the article, let's take a quick look at the bibliography to see whose works are referenced. We see that Professor Asselin herself is very productive publishing in her field of study. And look, here's Julie Coiro. Her research on online reading comprehension strategies versus traditional reading strategies is truly inspiring. Here's Eisenberg and Berkowitz, the Big Six Skills. The article is referencing lots of great works. Then in the end, we see the author notes. Look at the description of their backgrounds. They are both experts on the subject of literacy, new literacies, school, library, and education. Okay, let's start. Because of the explosive advances in information and communication technologies, the authors wanted to explore the impact of that on literacy education in our schools. They said the old way of teaching will no longer equip students for success. The essential foundation of education, learners, literacy, and knowledge, have transformed, so we need to look at today's learner, new literacies, and the new concepts of new knowledge. First up, the new learners. Young people today are digital natives, net generation, information generation, who grow up connected to the world and each other, use technologies to communicate with known or unknown others. They are action-oriented and hands-on problem solvers. They are born into the global society. Next, let's explore the new literacies. We as librarians are used to teach information literacy, but the literacy has expanded to multiple literacies. According to ALA, they are visual, textual, digital, and technological. Take digital literacy as an example. Literacy in online environments involves skills and processes that are both common in print literacy and things that are unique, like searching strategies, reading websites, digging into multiple layered hyperlinks, and evaluation of overwhelming information on the internet. And then the author points out the main issue. When presented with an information problem, our new learners would go first to the internet, rely on Google, and use natural language as search terms. They lack knowledge of more effective keywords. They are impatient and selecting the first available source. They skim and scan instead of the correct reading process. They get distracted by hyperlinks. Lastly, they cut and paste, which poses the issue of fair use. This is where librarians come in. New literacies are not fixed or definable. It's no longer the question of, is this source credible? Rather, it's about what is credible, who decides it's credible or not credible, and other how and why questions. The third key idea is the new concepts of knowledge. Traditional knowledge is fixed, authoritative, and discipline bound. The new knowledge is changing constantly, challenged, and also interdisciplinary and collaboratively constructed. Students are no longer finding, locating, and evaluating information. They are also using, creating, and sharing information and ideas. Now we have an idea what we're discussing here. Let's take a look at the methodology. They went through 3 stages of data collection and analysis. First, they read a lot of literature about these 3 concepts. And then they videotaped interviews with 14 teenage students with a balanced gender background and school achievements from 2 parts of Canada and Switzerland. About the interviews about their technology use at home and in schools, and their needs and suggestions on using technology. The third stage, they gathered all the information and field tested a series of workshops to local, national, and international colleagues. I'm curious here, the second stage. I'd love to see more details about how they selected these 14 teenagers. To be honest, 14 students from 2 countries is an extremely small sample. I'm also curious about what exactly the procedures were when conducting the interviews and focus groups. The same curiosity applies to the third stage. For example, what are the workshops like? What is the feedback from different people and settings? Fortunately, the authors did a very good job presenting their findings, again in 3 categories, 3 directions. Who are the new learners? Let's take a look at this table. Very simple and clear. 10 characteristics of the new learners in 2 categories: learning processes and the constructed identity. New learners are interactive participants. They take action approach. They are early adopters of new things. They're makers of personal landscapes. They learn by doing, and they are multitasking, multimodal people. And for constructed identity, they are the economic force. They live in networked communities. They are very passionately tolerant about diversity and differences, and they're the force for social transformation. They go back here and talk about each characteristics in detail. Next, what are the literacies these new learners need to live and work in the world? And I think there's a figure here. The literacies for the information generation is technological literacy, critical literacy, creativity and the representation, ethics and a social responsibility, inquiry and the problem solving. And also in details, they talk about these 5 different literacies. Lu's theory of new literacies and digital learning technology and D'Amico, Belden, and Campano's work on interdisciplinary framework of technology, literacy, and disciplinary knowledge, as well as the 21st century literacy statement from National Council of Teachers of English are used by the authors. According to these studies, the new literacies consist of 3 dimensions: operational, academic, and critical. It is quite shocking that D'Amico and Belden found that 8th grade students have little critical skills. And this is where the article turns to talking about the role of school library programs. Librarians need to help this literacy of fusion to happen across the board in and outside of school. Figure 2 shows a map of multiple literacies together. Notice that Wikipedia is prominent in this image, indicating the collaborative and shared nature of the new literacies. Instead of complicated diagrams and statistics, this article has a total of 2 tables, clearly listing key points, and 2 very simple figures that convey what the authors want the readers to understand. I really like that. Last area is how we teach the new literacy. The authors now brings out the word transformative pedagogy for school library programs. How to teach the new learners and what to teach them. Table 2 once again clearly lays out the principles. How to teach: collaborative, connected learning, control with parameters, user-centered technology, multiple diverse resources, context of social responsibility and globalization. What to teach: lifelong learning, ethical issues, social responsibility, critical consumers and the producers of knowledge, develop diverse and flexible competencies. A new concept I really like is the library being the brain of the school instead of the heart of the school. I also support the concept of a library, school library being a the learning commons. In the conclusion, the authors point out that school leaders need to realize the importance of the school libraries in their role in the Learning 2.0 environment. Librarians themselves also need to learn and adapt to the new pedagogy of teaching and learning in order to stay abreast. In the end of the article, the authors also identified intellectual property, ethics, and learning ecologies in the new time that need to be investigated. Again, what they proposed is only a framework, a place to start, as they claimed. All in all, this helpful article provided me with a clear picture of what we as school librarians need to learn, adapt, and transform in a new age with new learners, new literacies, and new knowledge. There are certainly more questions to ask, such as how to implement and execute. After all, transforming teaching and learning is not a simple task. This is the end of my literature review. Thank you for listening.